Walmart Plus members save on meeting up with friends. Save on having them over for dinner with free delivery with no hidden fees or markups. That's groceries, plus napkins, plus that vegetable chopper to make things a bit easier. Plus, members save on gas to go meet them in their neck of the woods. Plus, when you're ready for the ultimate sign of friendship, start a show together with your included Paramount Plus subscription. Walmart Plus members save on this plus so much more. Start a 30-day free trial at walmartplus.com. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. See Walmart Plus terms and conditions.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the Vehicle Owner's Manual for important feature limitations and information.
Travel is all about choosing your own adventure. With your Chase Sapphire Reserve card, sometimes that means a ski trip at a luxury lodge in the Swiss Alps with a few of your closest friends. And other times, it means a resort on a private beach with no one else in sight. Wherever you decide to go, find the detail that moves you with unique benefits at hand-selected hotels from Sapphire Reserve. Chase, make more of what's yours. Learn more at chase.com/Sapphire Reserve.
Cards issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC, subject to credit approval.
This episode is brought to you by Trojan Condoms. Experience more with Trojan Bearskin Raw, America's thinnest latex condom among leading brands. Enjoy triple-tested Trojan quality with a natural feel for your most thrilling adventure yet. Trojan Raw is also available in non-latex, designed to increase body heat transfer between partners. Trojan Bearskin Raw. Let's go. Tap the banner to buy now.
And welcome back to another episode of the Skating Penguin Network Mailbag, everyone. It is the afternoon of Tuesday, August the 20th. Feeling like fall here in Western Pennsylvania, and as always, joined by Snail, who is in Seattle. Snail, what is happening in your neck of the woods on this Tuesday as we head toward the end of August?
The end of August, indeed. Dude, it feels like fall here, too. Like, I'm surprised there's not maybe some, like, changing of the colors of leaves, maybe fooling some of these deciduous trees, as they are called. Remember that one from elementary school. Dude, it's awesome. It's like rainy and misty and cool in the morning. I didn't need the air conditioner on for the first time this summer. Just in the last day or two.
Absolutely. Yep. Same here. It's been today. I don't even think it got to 70 degrees here today. It was.
Ooh, I love that.
I stepped outside and it felt like fall. It was definitely a fall type day. Obviously, I don't think it's going to stay forever. It is supposed to warm up a little bit this weekend. Might be one of the final like nice weekends of the summer, so hopefully take advantage of that. But other than that, it is definitely feeling like fall as we head toward the last 10-ish days, 10, 11 days of August, with September right around the corner. And September, of course, means a big sports time of year, including the NHL finally kicking back into gear a little bit as we open training camps. But before that, still some downtime here, which we have some mailbags. So we are back for another episode. We have another 2 episodes coming this week. We got a bevy of questions from the crew on Twitter. So if you have any questions between now and we'll say Thursday, feel free to drop them in there. We'll try to get you guys in, and if not, we'll have some carryover for the future. So other than that, we'll get it underway here. Snail, I'll take the first question. So if you want to ask me, and we'll get the ball rolling.
Sure, man. Let's get it going here. So the first question's from our pal Kim Larson, and he asks, who has made the worst number 1 overall draft pick in the last 10 years? If you look at the players they took compared to who they could have got, and based on their performance now, that's a painful one, because there are a couple.
Yeah, I mean, you got to kind of, like, you can't really take in too much about Macklin Celebrini. Obviously, he hasn't even played a minute in the NHL yet. Connor Bedard looks like he's going to be a superstar, obviously. So that one looks like it's an okay one. I have to start with, I believe it's 2022 here. And 2022 was Owen Power. Or 20.
No, you're right.
That was right. Yeah, 2022. Juraj Slafkovský from Slovakia, taken by the Montreal Canadiens. Now, I can't say it's tough to really get a read here because a lot of this draft is just starting to break into the NHL. Logan Cooley was a part of this draft. He was third. Shane Wright out in Seattle was fourth. Cutter Gauthier, you remember his drama with the Flyers. So this one, Slavkovsky is one of the few that have kind of made an impact at the NHL level as of right now. Nobody in this first round has any kind of all-star appearance or anything like that. So a little early to call Slavkovsky a bust. But again, that's the first one of the last three that jumps out right away. 2001, Owen Power. Looks like he's going to be really good. The only other really big name out of that one right now in the top five was Matty Beniers, who was second overall, and Luke Hughes, who is looking like he's going to be an incredibly good player as well. That's 21. 20 was Alex Lafreniere, who would probably be leading this list if it wasn't until the last, let's say, 18 months, maybe even less than that. Really kind of becoming maybe not like a franchise guy, but definitely becoming one of those really good players. But I will say, if you look behind him, you have Quentin Byfield was taken second, Tim Stützle was taken third, and Lucas Raymond was taken fourth. So I think Alex Lafreniere is going to end up being a very good hockey player, but is he going to be as good in the long run as a Stützle or a Raymond? We don't know. That is one that's going to be one to keep an eye on. Again, this draft actually has no All-Stars at this point, and we're already at 2020. So not the deepest draft, but there is some talent behind Lafreniere that has definitely come to fruition. 2019, Jack Hughes, first overall. I mean, what do you say about the kid? He's going to be a superstar. He already is a superstar.
If he can stay healthy.
If he can stay healthy. Rumor has it, I don't know if it's been official, but it sounds like all three of the Hughes brothers are going to be on the NHL 25 cover for EA Sports. That was a rumor that I heard online, so we'll see if that pans out here. Some decent talent in this draft, though, too. Kirby Doc, Moritz Seider, who plays in Detroit. I believe he was Rookie of the Year at one point. Zegras, who we're kind of still out on. Cole Caulfield was in this draft as well. Looks like he's going to be a really good player as well. But right now, far and away, Jack Hughes, the winner of this draft, and the Devils there. 2018 now, Rasmus Dahlin, first overall, All-Star. Andrei Svechnikov.
Solid.
Jesper Kotkaniemi, who's a very solid player. Number 4 in this draft was actually maybe the...
Dude, taking Kotkaniemi over Tkachuk is crazy.
Yeah. So Brady Tkachuk at 4, Philip Zadina at 6, but number 7 here is the big break for the Vancouver Canucks, getting Quinn Hughes at 7 in this draft. Quinn Hughes, right with his brother, a superstar already, going to be on Team USA, going to be an Olympian, easily. Again, Dahlin is very good, but Quinn Hughes, and you can't blame this just on the Sabres, because 5 other teams passed on Hughes as well in this process. Farther down the list here, you have Evan Bouchard, who's turning into a very good player. Some good talent in that draft as well. 2017, Nico Hischier, Heiskanen, but again, number 4 in this draft was Cale Makar. So this makes it 2 drafts in a row where you get a Norris Trophy winner coming out of the top 10. Elias Pettersson, Nick Suzuki, Robert Thomas, Jake Ottinger in this draft. A very deep first round in this draft. Hischier, a good player, but if you look behind him, Makar, obviously, Pettersson, obviously. And then in 2016,
I wish that the Leafs picked Line.
Yeah,
bad.
It was not Line. It was Austin Matthews, who obviously best player in this draft. but the Jets took Line when they could have taken any mix of Clayton Keller, Charlie McAvoy, Tage Thompson was there, and obviously the easy pick here with Matthew Tkachuk. If you were redrafting, Matthew Tkachuk is probably who the Jets end up taking here, but no redos in this world. This draft also featured Pierre-Luc Dubois, Alex Nylander, Mikhail Sergachev, so some familiar names there. But obviously Austin Matthews takes the cake there. And we'll wrap this up with 2015. Another just insanely deep first round here. Obviously, the number one overall pick you can't really argue with. It was Connor McDavid. Eichel 2, Strome 3, Marner goes 4, Hanifin goes 5, and then you have Zacha and Provorov, both really good players. Zach Werenski, Timo Meier, Mikko Rantanen, who is a freak, Barzal, Connor, Shabbat, Besser, and Konechny are all big names out of this first round. Ilya Samsonov is another name. Jake DeBrusk is another name. But I think overall, if you're looking at the last 10 years, as of right now, it's Yuri Slafkovsky out of that 2022 draft. I just think that, again, not that he can't be a good player, but I think if you're looking at the top 10, that is probably your biggest whiff on the 1 seed. But that was not a super deep draft. Montreal got that first overall pick a little bit, about a year early, where they could have had Connor Bedard, but instead they get Slafkovsky, who is, I think, a very good player, but obviously maybe not the best, but that was not the deepest draft in the world. So that's kind of a rundown of the last 10 drafts.
Dude, that 2016 draft, out of the top 10, the only 2 players to not have been traded in the top 10 of that 2016 draft was Matthews and Keller in Arizona.
Yeah. Yep, it would have been. I'm looking at it real quick. Yeah. Yeah, and the one guy here went to the Canucks, Olli Juolevi.
Juolevi.
Olli Juolevi. I don't even know if he has played in the NHL.
He did, but he's not in it anymore.
He is
bust.
Bust. Yep, top 5 pick, bust. Jesse Puljujarvi, I would say. I mean, 4th overall in that draft as well. But if you're looking for top overall picks, Yuri Slafkovsky, Alex Lafreniere is in there, but he definitely has bounced back a little bit and kind of become that dude. There's definitely better picks in that draft, but it's tough with the way he's turned his career around. It's tough to put him as the top right now. I got to give that to Slafkovsky.
Dude, I was like waiting for you to say Nail Yakupov, but then I realized that's
2012.
I know, that made me. I was just like, God, time flew. That's kind of scary.
When I first saw that question, my automatic answer was that was my automatic answer, and then I'm like, oh wait, that was like in Pittsburgh. That was 2012. Like that's a long time ago. That's almost 15. That's almost 13 years ago now. That's 12 years ago.
God.
Yeah, that's much farther back than I care to think of it as. But Yakupov was the name that immediately popped in my head, but I had to backtrack because that was much longer than 10 years ago. All right, Brian back with us again this week. He said, why would Snail join essentially a beer league when he already has so much on his plate?
That's a great question. Yeah, I played in a beer league game on yesterday. That's why we had to postpone this. I had a couple goals, had a bunch of assists, not a big deal. Probably one of the worst actual skaters out there, but I got the hands going for me. Not to brag, but yeah, I don't know. It's because the season's it's actually late. Because we're heading into fall pretty soon here. There's only so many weeks left with the time slot that is allotted in Seattle. So at the place that we're playing. So with that said, it's not a super long-term commitment, and it's pretty casual. I mean, some of these guys that are playing, it's a beer league, and it definitely certainly defines beer league. Like one of this dude is a beauty that I met. He's every shift sits down. He's got an IPA and a bottle of water. Doesn't really look. He's not in a huge rush to change when it's when there's a shift change. No one's really. He's not hustling to get on the ice. That's kind of the pace we're at. So it's not the biggest commitment. But yeah, I just couldn't. It was an opportunity I couldn't pass up, and yeah, it was fun, and I look forward to doing it every Monday now, essentially for the next few weeks. I think, though, that the times might shift a little bit, so we might not have to postpone podcasts. I'll talk more with Robbie about that when I get more information, but there is a possibility of them shifting to a little bit of a later hour to where we could make it work. So, and it would only be for, a few more weeks, technically. So more on that to come, but yeah, not that you guys asked. I had 3 goals and about 5 assists and was minus $1 million, but not a big deal. So yeah, but I got to get some footage of me playing so you can just see like the madness that this is. It's it would be hilarious. I think that you and you, Robbie, and Brian would get a huge kick out of it. And with that, we'll move on. Let's see. Kim Larson asks here about a question about Cody Glass. He asks, is Cody Glass an upgrade at center position? And if yes, who are the 4 centermen? Is Cody Glass the centerman?
Maybe. I don't know. But no, I don't think he is. I think Kevin Hayes serves that third line well, and I think Lars Eller, coming off a strong season in season 1 with the Penguins, is your 4th line center. So I think you're going Crosby, Malkin, Hayes, Eller down the middle. I think that, assuming there's no injuries in camp or anything, that is your starting 4 centers. And I'm happy with that. Glass, I think, can play a role. I just don't think it's one of the 4 best centermen on the team. I think Blake Lizotte might actually end up being a better center than Cody Glass is. Lizotte has some experience there as well. But no, I don't think Cody Glass is going to move the needle all that much. Again, high pedigree, coming over as a former top 5 pick, but at the same time has struggled to kind of establish himself in the NHL. So on paper, not one of their top 4 centers coming into the season. Would be great if he proved us all wrong and showed that why he was a top 5 pick by the Vegas Golden Knights all those years ago. But unfortunately, that hasn't developed. But again, they paid a very low price to bring him in. It's more depth. It's another body. At some point, that guys are going to go down. You're going to need to fill spots, and he'll get a shot, I would assume, at some point. But on paper right now, he is not a top 4 centerman in my eyes. I'm still sticking with Crosby, Malkin, Hayes, and Eller down the middle to start the season, unless they'd feel better with Hayes and a wing spot. But I don't see that being the plan at all. It seems like that is what they're rolling with.
It says here that he Elite Prospects has him listed as a center, but Google's AI says that he's a right winger, and he is a right shot. So
okay.
I don't mind the dude at 6'2", who was a top 10 pick in the draft. Maybe I've wanted it forever, Robbie. I want someone with a one-timer on that half wall where Phil used to be. Like, the Penguins haven't had that since when? I can't even remember when they had like a legitimate one-timer option.
I mean, Kessel wasn't even really a true one-timer either.
No.
Like a slap shot. He'd crank it up every once in a while, but very rarely. Raquel doesn't really have that. A true... it's really... Hossa, maybe?
But Hossa was left.
Oh, yeah, Hossa was left-hander.
I think he was lefty.
Yeah, he was
I'm trying to think, like,
boy.
I mean, like, even Iginla wasn't really like a one-timer type.
Not
like,
really.
He wasn't like a stamp. He wasn't just sitting there in that dot waiting for a cross-seam pass to one-time. I can't even think of a guy that they've had for a long time that was that option. I'd love for them to have one like that. That's why the idea of entertaining a Line trade, that was like appealing. That power play would be so much more lethal if they had a one-timer option on the on the right side there, or on the left side technically. But dude, he could be I'm excited for this Cody Glass guy. If he could get in there, I don't even care if he had to spend time in Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't think they're hurting for bodies at the moment. You know, let them develop a little bit.
Yep. All right, sticking with Kim here. In European sports, fans are always divided. So you have an away section for traveling fans. It doesn't seem like there is that in American sports. Aren't there any troubles between fans? Know that you say Philly isn't the friendliest place, but are there fights?
I wouldn't be able to speak. I'm sure there have been fights. And so, yeah, in arenas here, stadium sports, there is technically like an away, like with hockey, it's like away fans typically buy the seats that are where their goalies start at so that they get 2 periods with like, or no, the opposite way when their team's attacking, or I guess it could go both ways, but typically, yeah, I think I'm thinking too hard about this. Typically, there is sort of like a visiting section where they get to see their team. They're in that zone where they get to see their team 2 periods out of the 3. But yeah, out here, you have fans intermingled, and you see, I'm sure you've all seen lots of viral moments on the internet of fans fighting in the stands. Sometimes it's friendly fire. Sometimes it's 2 fans wearing the same jersey. But yeah, sometimes when the heckling and the heckling gets to be a bit much and the beers are flowing, yeah, you get a lot. You get tempers. The temperature gets raised and fisticuffs come about. So it's not like in European sports where I guess it's like the stadium would be divided in a way. I've experienced it at like Mariner games and stuff. Like every time the Red Sox would come to town or something, I just remember it was so annoying sitting next to like an annoying Red Sox Boston guy.
That's just because they're from Boston.
It is because they're from Boston, massholes. They're just annoying. Yeah. But, you know, yeah, Kraken games too. Kraken, because they're so new, fans travel exceptionally well at Kraken games. You see a lot of away jerseys there. But what about out there in Pittsburgh at the, God, I almost called it Mellon Arena.
Nah.
PPG. Like I guess when the Flyers in town, it's a different type of game, right? Like it's a different vibe because they're such big rivals. But on an average, they say they were playing like, I don't know, the Dallas Stars or something. Like you get a lot of intermingled fans in the stands.
Yeah. So if you're like, Philly, obviously any division team, you're going to have a pretty good opposing contingent in the arena. That Buffalo, Detroit, and Toronto, just because of proximity. It's really interesting when like the Western Conference teams come to Pittsburgh and just to see like the smattering of like, give me a like LA Kings jerseys or Ducks jerseys or something like that. Because I think a lot of Ducks fandom, especially, is built on kids my age or our age that grew up with the Mighty Ducks movies that didn't necessarily have a local hockey team. So I think they're a big contingent as well. Carolina has a pretty strong following. I don't think I've ever seen, and I mean, I've been to like playoff games with like against the Capitals and stuff. I don't think I've ever seen, I've been around annoying fans. I was once near a Penguins fan that was maybe the most drunk human I've ever seen in my life. And like, it got to the point where like, okay, at first it's funny for like the first period. And then it just kind of like, buddy, you need to just stop talking.
Oh, it was only the first period?
Oh, he came drunk. Yeah.
Oh, God.
He was drinking on the bars before the game. And he just kind of, it just got very annoying. Like he was trying to coach from like the second level. And he was just trying to talk to random people around him.
Such a tough look.
Yeah, it's not a good look when you're that drunk. And I think it was like a weeknight too. Like it wasn't even like a weekend game. Like this dude probably showed up for work the next morning, just absolutely just. If he showed up for work.
If he showed it, he probably didn't.
If he even had a job, I don't know. But
that behavior might tell you that he doesn't have a job.
Yeah, dude was just waxed, and he was annoying. That was one of my worst experiences, just because he was so grating and annoying the entire time.
And that was a Penguins fan.
That was a Penguins fan.
That wasn't even like an opposing guy.
No, I can't remember who we even saw. Like I can't remember who the other team was.
The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is,
"Thank you for calling. Please listen to your list of 46 possible service options."
Which is why when you choose USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable. 24/7 online service for claims, access to roadside assistance, and more. All at the touch of a button. Start getting the service you deserve. Get a quote today. Ability to receive a quote depends on membership eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Walmart Plus members save on meeting up with friends. Save on having them over for dinner with free delivery with no hidden fees or markups. That's groceries plus napkins plus that vegetable chopper to make things a bit easier. Plus, members save on gas to go meet them in their neck of the woods. Plus, when you're ready for the ultimate sign of friendship, start a show together with your included Paramount Plus subscription. Walmart Plus members save on this plus so much more. Start a 30-day free trial at walmartplus.com. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. See Walmart Plus terms and conditions.
Travel is all about choosing your own adventure. With your Chase Sapphire Reserve card, sometimes that means a ski trip at a luxury lodge in the Swiss Alps with a few of your closest friends. And other times, it means a resort on a private beach with no one else in sight. Wherever you decide to go, find the detail that moves you with unique benefits at hand-selected hotels from Sapphire Reserve. Chase, make more of what's yours. Learn more at chase.com/Sapphire Reserve.
Cards issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC, subject to credit approval.
Sweet Tarts dared to combine sweet and tart. But we didn't stop there. We combined soft and bouncy to bring you new Sweet Tarts Gummies Fruity Splits. A uniquely delicious dual-sided gummy with one side that's sweet and one side that's tart. But entirely smooth and squishy. A powerfully perfect combo. Sweet Tarts. Dare to combine.
There's always a lot of Montreal fans when the Habs are in town. Again, historic team. Any of the original 6 teams have a good following. Chicago, Detroit, New York, any of those teams. But Steeler games, I don't know if I've never seen a fight at a Steeler game. Like I've been to away Steeler games in Baltimore, and I've never had anything but good interactions with fans of Baltimore. And that's like our biggest rivalry in football. Baseball, nobody cares enough about the Pirates to be mad at Pirates fans. But yeah, we don't now, like in European sports, they sell tickets that are designated for opposing fan sections. College football, you see that a lot of. There's a certain allotment for visiting fans, and they're all in one section. But yeah, you don't see that when there's 82 games. It's just not something you see a lot of. So, but
dude, I was gonna say college sports might be the closest thing to that European like rivalry, like kind of thing he's talking about, where it's a little bit more. The stadium's a little more divided, and I would also say too that like. There's probably more fights at college games than at pro games.
I mean, that's like blood rivalry when it comes to college sports. Like,
well, not only is it students that are just, full of testosterone.
Yeah.
I was going to say alumni are there too. 45-year-olds that went to that college. Like you one day, Robbie, you're going to be back at Penn State.
I've done it. I've been back. I know what it's like. And
yelling obscenities, and there's 21-year-olds around, and you're from like Ohio State's there, and you just are giving it to Ohio State.
I've been that person.
I love it.
Yeah, I've been that person. It definitely gets intense. It's more, again, a lot of those rivalries are. I mean, we're going back almost a century at this point for some of these teams. So the rivalry, there's not as many new teams. We'll say it's like you see in like professional sports, no expansions or anything like that. So. But yeah,
well, yeah, nothing. But it's safe to say though that like probably nothing will ever rival like the European football madness in the United States.
I mean, I've talked to people who have gone to Philly for Penguins Flyers games, and right now it's not bad because it doesn't have that oomph.
Oh, but when Giroux
was
there,
they both have to be good. Like it's better when both teams are good, and stuff like that. Like it's better when both teams are good.
I hear you. All right, question from Brian, and he asks, Robbie, are you aware that Sid and LeBron James are the only 2 first overall picks to win multiple championships, Olympic golds, and playoff finals MVPs?
So I knew that they had a connection. They've been connected. They both won that championships in 2016. We're both on the cover of Sports Illustrated within like a week of each other that year. They've always kind of had a connection, especially being from spending most of their careers relatively close to one another in Cleveland and Pittsburgh. They've always kind of had a tie together. And obviously LeBron is a international superstar. Basketball is much more popular than hockey. But I mean, we're grateful, obviously, for Sid as well. So, but yeah, they've always had
completely polarizing personalities too, which is crazy.
Well, I mean, they're just completely polar opposites. Like LeBron
he's black
much more,
and Sid's white.
Yeah, much more outgoing. Crosby, you interview him and it's a very yes, no, we got to get better. We got to da 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 kind of straightforward kind of answers. Both polarizing athletes in their own right, both hated by rival fan bases, obviously. If you go to Philly, you hear the boos every time he touches the puck, even 20 years on and after 2 decades of just being the best player in the world. But yeah, I mean, they both carry the mantle of best in the world for the majority of their careers. They both face the same pressures from the fans. They both kind of found the same exact success, both individually and team-wise. So it's an interesting and fun kind of parallel to see those two up against each other throughout their careers. It's been something fun to watch. All right, sticking with Brian here. If our goalie system wasn't so full with potential starters, would you want to go after Askarov since he formally requested a trade?
I mean, there's a part of me that's just tempted to go after him now because obviously the Predators have their guy in UC Saros locked up for God knows how long. They signed him to a big extension. Yeah. And they kind of just need a solid backup at this point. And if Jari wasn't signed to such a mammoth deal, I'd be like, just please. Like I would take a risk on Askarov where he's at right now. Very highly touted goalie prospect who's he's ready for the NHL. Could be, we're talking like potential, I don't want to say superstar. Like it's goalies, it's hard to predict that stuff, but he is it's very highly touted. I wouldn't mind taking a chance on him. The only thing is that the Penguins themselves have those 2 goalie prospects that are also, pretty highly touted prospects as well. One of them's getting called, potentially the next Vasilevsky, and the other Blomqvist. Just a pretty sound goalie everywhere he's played, and has a lot of people excited for when he starts playing consistently out here in North America. And it would just be a shame to swap goaltender prospects and be on the losing end of that one. That's the risk, right?
Goalies are so hard. They're basically like pulling a rabbit. They're basically pulling a number out of a hat. And
it's a lottery ticket. Yeah.
It is. That's why you don't see goalies drafted very high. I mean, Jake Ottinger, I think we were going through that list, was one of the last goaltenders drafted in the first round. You just don't see it because it's just such a wild card. Like you're not going to see a Marc-Andre Fleury type scenario where the Penguins traded up to get him. Like you're just not going to see that happening anymore because goalies are so hit or miss. I mean, most of the great goalies that you see today were not drafted early at all.
Look at like Jack Campbell. I think he was a first round pick from.
Yeah, I think Spencer Knight was a first round pick too.
Like I forget who, but Jack Campbell, highly touted, lost. Like then he got traded. Was up and down in the AHL, like not having good years, having solid years. Then he has the most wins consecutive as a starter for the Maple Leafs in their history. Signs a massive ticket with Edmonton, gets bought out, I think, and then I think he just got signed to a league minimum in Detroit. Like that's not a typical goalie like scenario. That's pretty extreme roller coaster, but. I mean, Marc-Andre Fleury lost his starting job multiple times throughout his tenure in Pittsburgh, and he was a first overall pick. So, it's just tough. But I guess to answer your question, if our goalie system wasn't so full, absolutely, I would be willing to trade a piece of some sort that the Predators. I'd be taking calls on just about anyone within reason to get a goalie like that in the system because the cupboards are so bare. That's where I'm at with it. What about you, Robbie?
Yeah, I mean, if you'd I don't know what the asking price would be. I'd have to assume the asking price, even for a goalie prospect, would be pretty steep. I mean, he doesn't really hold any of the leverage here because Nashville can ask for pretty much anything they want. I guess he said he's not going to report to their AHL team or maybe not report at all. I can't remember exactly what his decision was, but I mean, they're going to get calls. I mean, I think if you're a general manager, Kyle Dubas or anyone, you at least make the phone ring just to see. Because if he's ready now, like, what if they're like, yeah, we'll take Jari off your hand? Again, that would be an insanely expensive goaltending combination. But you'd get Askarov for, I'd say, 3 years on a bare minimum entry-level deal. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to do your due diligence and make the phone call, but at the same time, I'd actually feel better trading away Jari than I would like a Blomqvist or a Murashov, actually.
Well, yeah, because none of us want Jari in Pittsburgh anymore.
Yeah, true.
I'm sorry.
True.
Like,
yeah,
of course that's easy. We don't know what we have in them yet, but man, if you could, like, what if Askarov won like the Calder as a goalie next year? It's like, would you part ways with like a Blomqvist?
I
think you could see in a crystal ball and see
Pittsburgh.
What?
I think this is Jari's last year in Pittsburgh. I'll go on the record now and say that we'll revisit it in the summer of 2025, but I don't think he's in Pittsburgh after.
You don't think there's a world where he could still be traded before training camp?
I mean, I just don't see it. Unless you'd have to get a goalie back, because I don't think they're ready to elevate Blomqvist yet. I just don't see a situation where, again, I love Ned. I'm glad he stayed in Pittsburgh. I don't want him starting 55, 60 games. Blomqvist, I mean, if you could
see how he was at the end of like 13 games or 14 games in a row.
Well, again, that any goalie probably would have been close to death at that point. But again, unless you're just like, hey, Ned, you're starting 41 games, Joel, you're starting 41 games, then I could see it. But just getting that money off the book would be nice, obviously.
What if they retained? What if they got rid of Jari for Askarov and they retained?
I'd retain half.
You would see, because I think, dude, that could happen. I think if you turn Jari into like a $3 million goaltender as a backup, I think that Nashville would potentially shake hands on that.
Even if it's just retaining for this season, and then go from there. But no, I'd be willing to retain half to. Again, what if Askarov comes in and he's just out of this world?
What if he's like Calder and Vezina first year?
Yeah, I mean, what if he just out of this world? That completely changes.
Gets them to a playoff berth?
Yeah, what the Penguins do. So,
God.
I mean, I think if you're Kyle Dubas or any GM, you kick the tires and see what the asking price is. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting situation to watch play out over the next few weeks as we get closer to camp.
Especially since he's not reporting and he's not interested in the AHL. Like, that means that the timer is ticking on something to happen with this cat.
Yep.
All right. Kim Larson's asking here, isn't it strange that there isn't more activity on the transfer market, both generally and for the Penguins, players in and out?
At this point, not really. I mean, this is kind of the dead period. There have been, again, you had St. Louis offer sheeting two Edmonton players and getting the two players in the end for some draft picks and stuff like that. Edmonton did make a few trades to bring in and ship out some bodies. That's about as exciting as it gets this time of year. It'd be nice if we got more offer sheeting. Nate Robertson is still unsigned in Toronto, by the way.
Nick Robertson.
Patrick
Laine just got traded to the Habs.
Patrick Laine. Yeah, so I mean, like, this is like the busiest it's been since like mid-July. So it is heating up a little bit. The Laine deal is extremely interesting to me because I think it definitely helps Montreal more than it helps Columbus, in at least immediately. I think it definitely pushes Montreal, at least to make them more competitive. Not saying it makes them a playoff team. That division it's a good division. Again, not sold on Ottawa until I see some kind of life out of Ottawa. I need more than just paper talk. I need some actual results on the ice.
Hey, they might need a starting goaltender.
Who is their goaltender even? I don't even know who their goaltender is.
Montembeault and I don't know, some other guy.
Yeah. If they want to go Jari Kachuk straight up, let's do it. Let's make some noise.
I would be willing. Or wait, were you saying Montreal or Ottawa?
Ottawa.
Oh, Ottawa. Yeah, Jari Kachuk. That would. I'd pick up the phone for that one.
I go Cole Caulfield jar you straight up.
I would do that as well. I mean, they have a big right shot shooter now in line. They don't need Caulfield anymore.
They don't need Caulfield. No, absolutely not.
He's an American too. Get him back down to the States.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, where are we at? Wait, what's the transfer market? Sorry, that's a term.
The transfer market's basically European free agents.
Oh, it's a European term.
Yeah.
Okay, that answers that. I think this is your question.
Yeah, it's the next to last one.
Oh, there's another one. Kim Larson.
Oh wait, yeah, never mind. I was on the wrong one there. Yeah, so Kim wrapping us up here for this episode. Sorry I haven't responded sooner. Been on vacation for 3 weeks. Must be nice. To answer your question about the day I saw Lord Stanley, yes, I touched the cup. Maybe that's why the Penguins haven't been winning it since.
There it is.
Yep,
that's
it's Kim's fault. Yeah.
That's why the Penguins get scored on after they score every time.
Yes, is Kim Larson has cursed the Penguins to years of mediocrity because he touched the Stanley Cup when he was not supposed to.
I would have done the same thing.
I absolutely would have done the same thing. Yeah, I mean, I can't blame him. I don't blame him. You don't get – there's very few times in life that you get the opportunity to touch a Stanley Cup, and you got to take it when it comes. And I would absolutely do the same thing as Kim did. So Kim, just messing around with you. Don't blame you there because absolutely would have done the exact same thing.
Also, the Stanley Cup over in Europe. Like, how are you not going to touch it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it makes tours through the United States sometimes. Over in Europe, it takes a year, and you have to be in a specific country too. Like Denmark, Lars Eller, I believe, is still the only Dane to ever win the Stanley Cup. So that's not going to happen. Tom Kuhnhackl was the first German to ever win the Stanley Cup, and you remember how long it took the cup to go to Germany. France, I think Huet was the first Frenchman to ever win the Stanley Cup, and that was in the 21st century. So, yeah, if you're in a especially a Western European country, and the cup comes there, you definitely got to taking advantage when it comes. So, I absolutely would have been rubbing up on that bad boy.
Oh yeah, I would have lifted it up.
Yeah, yeah. No, my turn. Just lift it up, start kissing it. Yeah,
start kissing it, walking it around.
Bring your own food to put in it.
Show up with muddy it up with poutine.
Show up with a takeout container of spaghetti. Just dump it right in there and just start eating it with like a plastic fork or something like that.
Do you think they would take action on you? Like, do you think?
I think they would definitely stop you. Yeah,
dude. There's actually a bunch of Danish players, but like I don't know if any of them are gonna win the Stanley Cup anytime soon. Oliver Bjorkstrand, Fredrik Andersen, Lars Eller, Nikolai Ehlers, Mads Søgaard, Franz Nielsen. He's not an NHL player anymore. Alexander True. He was with the Kraken for a sec. So, good luck ever getting that thing back out to Denmark.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Robbie, that wraps up our mailbag for today. But I had a quick question for you before we close things out. Have you ever had bitchin' sauce?
Bitchin' sauce?
Yeah.
I've never had bitchin' sauce. I don't think
so. Really?
Nah, is it I'm assuming some kind of dipping sauce?
It is. It's a very versatile dipping sauce. You can use it as a spread, or you can just dip chips in it straight up. You can dip veggies in it. It's one of the it's vegan, but like I don't want to say it's accidentally vegan, but like there's just no dairy or anything like that in it. I don't think they market it technically as vegan, but it is. It's got water, sunflower oil, almonds, lemon juice. This one has pickles in it, but it's got vinegar, sea salt, soy sauce, nutritional yeast, garlic. Dude, I found this. It's bitchin' sauce in a squirt bottle, and it's dill pickled flavor. Ooh. And it is phenomenal. We are not sponsored by them. I wish we were, but dude, everyone out there needs to go and try dill pickle bitchin' sauce. This has changed sandwiches for me.
Where'd you get it at?
I just got it at a Kroger store.
Oh, GFC. Okay. I mean, so yeah, if they have it, maybe Walmart or somebody would have it too. So.
Oh yeah, I bet you. It can't be a regional thing. Like I'm sure, bitchin' sauce is. I'm googling it right now. Yeah, you could pick up bitchin' sauce at. Do you have Target out there?
I can get to a Target.
It says you can pick up bitchin' sauce at Target in Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. So, all right, maybe I'll have to keep an eye out for it, and if I stumble upon it,
you gotta try it.
Try it out, yeah.
Dude, also, I've been making progress on my football team that I'm gonna follow.
Yeah, you texted me Bills and Vikings,
along with Pittsburgh and Seattle.
Okay,
like it's those four that have been in the ring. I've decided to move away from the Bills.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah.
I hear they've parted ways with a couple of key pieces not too long ago. Their quarterback's phenomenal, but I've seen what happens to a football team where their quarterback is their only weapon, and it's painful. So also they seem to have a ton of pressure on them every year to be good, and something always goes wrong for them.
That's the Bills.
And then the Vikings, I think I just got really hyped on watching some old Brett Favre highlights when he played for them. And then I looked at their team realistically now, and I don't think it's anything that I don't want to hop on. I don't want to be a bandwagon fan. I want to hop on a team that really speaks to me and seems like they could be good, but I'm not trying to hop on like a juggernaut. And the Vikings also seemed like they kind of fit that bill, but I did a little. Yeah, the Vikings.
Vikings never won a Super Bowl.
They've never won a Super Bowl?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so I did a little research on them, and I'm not hitching up to that wagon. I don't like. So then I came back to the Steelers, and honestly, I think I would go Steelers maybe this year. Not extremely high expectations, but they have Russell Wilson, and that's a huge issue for me.
Yeah,
it's actually like poetic that he's there in a way. So I'm actually I watched a preseason game, and I watched the Seattle Seahawks backup play. This guy Sam Howell. Are you familiar with Sam Howell?
Yeah, I know who Sam Howell is. Yeah.
Not a lot of expectations there, but I liked the way this kid looked. And I right now I did a little research on my own team. The Seahawks head coach was the defensive coordinator for the #1 defensive team in the league last year. And I guess it was a big deal to get him as a coach. That went completely under my radar. And then the Seahawks also have a couple good receivers. Geno Smith is a little bit of an underrated quarterback from what I understand. He's not great, but he's got a cannon on him, which I like. I like dudes who can chuck the ball. I hated one of the things about that scarred me for life was watching Russell Wilson always just fucking run it. So I'm actually sort of leaning right now technically back towards the Seahawks.
Okay. I mean the Seahawks, I when they made that hire of their coach, I was infatuated with that because I think he's a great coach. He's an all-time he has a chance to be a very good coach up there. I think they're going to love him. He's younger too, so he's not like a retread. Was it Mike McDonald? It's McDonald or something like that. I can't remember his name.
Let me Google it quick. I should probably know this, but let's see. Mike McDonald.
I was right. Okay. But yeah, I like that hire for them. Be interesting to see. It might take a year, obviously, with the coaching, but I think they're definitely kind of turning it around up there.
I would hope so. I just hope that the Seahawks don't meddle around in mediocrity for too long because Seattle sports, when it seems there's a history of Seattle teams when they get mediocre, they never really get out of it, like the stupid Seattle Mariners. So
yeah,
I'll have a decision before the first game of the season. But we're not a football podcast; we're a hockey podcast. But we're going to be talking a little bit of football this year.
All right, that sounds good to me. I'm always down to talk football.
Where are you at with your Steelers right now?
Optimistic.
Okay.
We'll see how things go. I can't put too much. Last year they looked really good in the preseason, and I was very hype, and it fell flat in its face after like a month. So Gonna kind of be optimistic, cautiously optimistic, and see how things kind of develop here as the first few weeks go along. So,
is Mike Tomlin still your coach?
Yep.
Does Pittsburgh still want him out?
Oh, they wanted him out for like a decade now. I've gotten to the point now where
he's turning into Sullivan.
Yeah, Sullivan with less championships. Yeah.
That's a shame. Well, that's all I got, Robbie. I wanted to talk football and bitchin' sauce.
All right, that is all we got then for this week. We will see you guys later this week with part 2 of our mailbag. Again, if you have any questions between now and then, feel free to hit us up on Twitter. You guys know where to find us. But until Thursday, we will let you guys enjoy this episode, and we will talk to you soon.